When you view the photos, keep in mind they're supposed to be about fashion. If you hadn't been told that, you probably would never guess it. In view is the W magazine, which is the who, what, where, when, and why in the world of style. And it's for March of 2012 AD. The cover states, Kate Moss, she's no angel. Spring's Fashion Bible. Divine style for everyone. And Heavenly Dresses, Sinful Shoes. The issue contains a section called Good Kate, Bad Kate, written by Will Self. Will Self? Consider me a birther when it comes to this guy. Will and Self? You could not make up a better name for an occultist even if you tried. One thing appears certain, this guy knows what he's doing and is very, very good at saturating his statements with keywords that will make the likes of the Illuminati occult salivate. If you wanted to invent, make up, fake what an article written by a perverted insider occultist would look like, you could not come up with anything such as this article. If you're aware of research conducted by personages such as Fritz Springmeier and Cisco Wheeler as two well-known examples, then that which follows will send up enough red flags to plug up the 1,000 points of light at the Mother of Darkness castle. If you're not aware, please see the info section below. The issue revolves around what is generally known as MKULTRA Monarch trauma-based programming, modes and methods of mind control which have been admittedly developed by the CIA, which you can read about in books such as How the Illuminati Create an Undetectable Total Mind Control Slave. Consider how packed with double meaning is Will Self's very first sentence. When I pore over these wonderful images of the model, designer, and eternal wife, Kate Moss, butterfly thoughts flit in and out of the dark halls in my mind. Note the following from a simple definition of the word waif. A waif, from the old French wife, stray beast. Okay, so the word is W-A-I-F. And it comes from the French G-U-A-I-F, is a living creature removed by hardship, loss, or other helpless circumstances from its original surroundings. Now from a definition of the word flit, to move quickly from one condition or location to another. A fluttering or darting movement, and informal as an empty-headed, silly, often erratic person. Elucidating according to the MKUltra Monarch programming interpretation, from the get-go he is referring to her as both good and evil. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, Isaiah 5:20. She's dehumanized as a stray beast who has been removed by hardship, trauma, from her original surroundings, and she was taken captive as a mind-controlled, programmed multiple, as they are known. Will Self, as her programmer, or perhaps just a fellow program multiple, muses of her within the dark halls of his mind, wherein he imagined flutter like the wings of a monarch butterfly. He chose to reference fireflies instead. The very next sentence is just as saturated with meanings. I think first of Dorian Gray in Oscar Wilde's A Morality Tale, who looks upon the portrait of himself in the fullest fruition of youth and wishes that it would age in his stead. Kate Moss seems to have always been with us, and to have always been as she is. Her life has been a slalom through the toxicities of fame and success. A slalom is a zigzag pattern. Will Self references amorality instead of immorality. So he's referring to a lack of morality. Remember? Good Kate, bad Kate. And her toxic slalom career. He notes that she's 38 years old, which in modeling fashion industry years equals about 235 in regular human years, meaning that by their standards she's very, very old. Will Self continues, I look back to photos of Moss at the outset of her career and see in the full and terrifying extent of her juvenescence how much younger she seems that she actually was. This guy never stops. Why is her juvenescence terrifying? At 19, the revered and reviled face of heroin chic, Moss, appeared to be in her Lolita teens. Yeah, the term Lolita is taken from a nickname of the title character in Vladimir Nabokov's novel Lolita. Lolita's actual name was Dolores Hayes, with whom the narrator, Hugh Humbert, developed a sexual obsession. Lolita and Loli have come to be used as a general reference to a seductive or sexually attractive young girl. In Lolita, nymphette was used to describe the 9 to 14-year-old girls to whom the protagonist is attracted, the archetypal nymphette being the character Dolores Hayes. So Will Self sees in the teenage Kate Moss a nymphomaniac, seductive, sexually active young girl. And he goes on. In catwalk footage from later on, Moss's face has become streamlined, grown more feline, so that when emulating the swivel hip stride of her towering colleagues, she powered along the runway like a gilded hood ornament. Inescapably British, the Rolls-Royce spirit of ecstasy, gene-spliced perhaps by some modern agent, Dr. Moreau with the iconic Jaguar. Yes, this is supposed to be about fashion and fashion models, but Will Self can stream of consciousness, Illuminati occult imagery, as if it was oh so familiar to him. Note that according to the MKULTRA Monarch programming, feline, cat, is associated with beta models, who are the program multiples, the personalities, who are programmed to be seductive and sexual. This certainly fits with the context of Will Self's article. She is the spirit of ecstasy. She's again dehumanized as a gilded hood ornament. She is an object. This also fits with the MKUltra Monarch. He then references some model agent Dr. Moreau. This refers to the book and later 2 movies, The Island of Dr. Moreau, which is about a scientist who conducts genetic manipulation. He splices human and animal genes so as to create hybrid mixtures of creatures who are part human and part animal. Also, and perhaps more fittingly, Dr. Moreau's very own beautiful and human daughter does not know until the end that she is in reality another one of her father's experiments and is a hybrid herself, but a more advanced, successful model who is outwardly merely human, but is in actuality a hybrid. In other words, she does not know who she is, even though she thinks she does. She has been manipulated, experimented upon, programmed, but does not even know it. Will Self continues. Moss has aged and continues to age, not gracefully, for she's a suburban hellion from the outer limits of cognidom, but beguilingly. Hellion is a mischievous, troublesome, or unruly person, worthless person, rough or rowdy person, especially a child, troublemaker. Cognidom refers to a native of London. Beguilingly means to deceive by guile, delude, deceive, cheat, to distract the attention of, divert. And he continues, I lose myself in the cold reactor shutdown of her brown to black eyes. Moss's mouth, no rosebud, but a crushed carnation. Her cheekbones somehow perform the alien accomplishment of curving down to below its petals. Imagine looking at a model's mouth and imagining a crushed flower, and you get a taste of Will Self's mentality. The reference to alien anatomy is also very, very telling. And you can see below in the information section for a link to a series of articles I did on UFOs, aliens, demons, etc. Will Self could not help himself, perhaps literally could not help himself as he is programmed, and continues, Dark Moss and Light Moss, Bad Kate and Good Little Katie, simply dichotomizing is not what this dyad deserves. Indeed, he is not merely dichotomizing, as this denotes two separate and distinct things. No, he is confounding, combining, and therefore blurring the lines between dark and light, good and bad. The online version of the story also has a tagline, whether angel or devil, Kate Moss beguiles in any guise. This is Occultism 101. His reference to her as Little Katie is also troubling for various reasons. Fashion model industry exploitation of youth, pedophilia, etc. And he continues, I look at the pictures of Moss dressed in black and think perhaps they're of a great beauty meditating upon her own inner ugliness. Is he turning into an armchair psychiatrist or revealing something about her real inner being as a program multiple? And he continues, I tried to divine the precise symbolism of the tattoo on her wrist. It is a piratical anchor or Coptic cross or some strange merging of the two. I think of Baudelarian decadence, and I'm hammered back into Dorian's gilt frame. The tattoo looks much like an anchor, except that generally anchors have a shaft which consists of one beam that connects directly to the semi-circular bottom piece. The tattoo has a beam which splits into two just below meeting the bottom. It actually looks like a human stick figure standing on top of a crescent moon, but who knows? So again, Will Self's mind goes to the occult and depraved. Baudelarian decadence refers to French poet Charles-Pierre Baudelaire. And he continues, her once legendary media Freudieu, no interviews, no comments, has been fractured in ways so prosaic that far from shattering her visual image, it has left it mysteriously shellacked. She remains like a great silent screen heroine who's animated and reanimated and then reanimated again by the fizzle jolt of the Klieg's. So the Klieg's, it's those lights they use for model shoots. And this is just more keywords of note here, such as fractured and shattering, as in multiple personality disorder, aka dissociative personality disorder. Also, the reference to being animated and reanimated, perhaps as each alter, each personality is called up to perform some or another function. You may have thought that fashion magazines were about fashion, but fashion is secondary at best. Firstly, you'll note that the majority of the clothing they model is simply unwearable. But most importantly, and most obviously, they are, well, porn for the Illuminati. They consistently depict specifically and exclusively anti-Christian imagery, such as Kate Moss holding an upside-down cross. They glorify occult imagery. They depict sexual perversion, such as sadomasochistic bondage. Non-stop photos of models with their legs spread just as wide as they will stretch. They promote androgyny. They encourage the above referred to trashed and wasted heroin chic look. And digging deeper still, they send out all sorts of messages to program multiples. All this, of course, in the guise of fashion. The fashion and modeling industry preys upon, uses up, and spits out the young, encourages immorality, eating disorders, and drug use, and is very, very clearly a vehicle for servicing occultists. Next time your little girl asks you to buy a fashion magazine for her, why not actually take the time to look it over first? Some are even harmless enough, and only make your little girls feel bad about their bodies, hair, face, figure, clothes, etc. Others, such as W magazine, are nothing but Illuminati occult pervert pedophile porn.